Hi everyone, it's Megan, or Stitching Moon, here on Flosstube. Welcome to my channel if you're new, and welcome back if you're coming back. This is Flosstube number 8, I believe, and yeah, it's been maybe 3 weeks, a little longer than I wanted to go since my last video, but lots has been happening here. November 15th already now, 2021, so yeah, November has been crazy. And I do have a lot of life updates that I'll put at the end after all the stitching stuff in case anyone wants to hear about that. A lot about my life in Norway, and including my first Norwegian interview. And for those of you who don't know, I'm American living in Norway. So I have some updates about that I'll put at the end. And yeah, I've been watching a lot of Flosstube, even though I haven't had time to film, so I actually have some shout outs that I'll do first. Then I actually got my first stitching injury, which is a thing, so I'll be talking a little bit about that. Showing my whips. The plans changed a little bit because of my little stitching injury, and it's also my birthday this week, so I'll talk about my birthday plans and plans for the rest of the month. So yeah, let's just get into it. For shoutouts, the first person I wanted to mention is Stitch Ilanka, and I'll link everybody below in the description. But yeah, I started watching her videos. She's a new Flosstuber and a new stitcher. I think she only started a couple months ago in stitching in general, and she's already got her Flosstube, and that was like a really cool perspective to see it from, and she is hilarious. She has like a great sense of humor, and in her first video it was about all the things she learned from watching Flosstube about cross-stitching and Flosstubing, and it was just funny. But yeah, I would definitely check her out. She also mentioned her in one of her last videos of a planner, like what she uses to plan her stitching, and that enabled me. I'm definitely gonna be ordering that, which you'll see in a future episode. But yeah, she talks all about that in her video. So if you're interested at all in that, definitely go check her out. And really, I don't know why she doesn't have more people watching her. She's really funny. She's really fun to watch. So definitely go give her some love. Other people I've been watching, there's two sisters, and their channel is X's and Hoes, and they are hilarious. So I just laugh watching them every time. They're sisters. Sometimes they'll be together doing it. Sometimes they'll be, you know, just zooming or something. And they're just really funny. They have a like a warning in the beginning of their video that adult beverages may be involved, maybe some adult language. So yeah, so if you don't mind that, definitely go check them out. They're really funny. And also another one I've recently found, who's also relatively new, Lara. I've been watching all her videos, and I can just relate to so much of what she says and talks about, and her projects are amazing. She does full coverage, I think only full coverage, and really into fantasy, unicorns. She loves unicorns. So if you're into the fantasy stuff, definitely go check her out, and she's just super down to earth and relatable. So yeah, I will link all of them below. And yeah, I've been having fun just watching everybody and wishing I could be here sooner, but yeah, last week I was actually all planned and ready to film, but then her toddler had to be home from the daycare here, so that wasn't gonna happen. But yeah, here I am. So, what next? Well, I'll talk about my injury. So as you all know, I had planned, or if you watched my other videos, I planned a new start, my first HAED, my first Heaven and Earth design on November 1st, which was one of my husband and I's anniversaries. And it was for a piece for us, kind of our relationship, and it's just something for us, and it was called Together. I'll show you that now, and this relates to the injury. So that's what it will look like. Oh, it's a little bit glary, sorry. I have kind of a bright light I'm using now because it's dark. It's like, what, 10:30 in the morning here in Norway, and the sun's like barely up. It's that time of year where the sun, it's dark, pitch dark by 4:30, and the sun is barely up by 10. So I gotta use some lights here. But yeah, that's what it'll look like. And I ordered it, I started it on the 1st like I planned. And it's my first time using 25 count and doing 1/1. And so it was okay. I was doing it okay. It's smaller than I'm used to, but I wasn't having any problems. But I think the way I was stitching, because I hold my Q-snap in my hand and that's it. I just like hold it and stitch with one hand. But because it was so small, I think I was just going like this with my neck all the time. And that was not cool for my body. Back in like my high school days, I had an injury from wearing a backpack, and I had to be cool. I had this side backpack with like a million heavy books. So I got an injury in high school from that was on my left side. And I think it just retweaked that injury that I already had there that was already kind of messed up. And it was just muscle spasms, and I couldn't stitch for like 2 days. It was terrible. But I will show you my progress. Not very much. Just the upper left corner. It's starting in the tree, basically like it's one of the darkest parts of the whole chart. And I'm using the even weave, easy guide, one of those. 25 count again, and I'll show you how much. So I wrote down how much I actually did on it. It's not that much. 1,224 stitches. Guess how much percent? 0.39%. 0.39. So I had to stop after I couldn't move my neck. And I also noticed my wrist had started hurting too. Like just because of the way I hold it. And this can, you know, it's got a lot of fabric. So after hours of holding it, that can be pretty, put a lot of pressure on your wrist. So I noticed as I was playing on the floor with my toddler, I would like go to get up and I was like, I can't put any weight on this wrist. So I kind of fell apart from stitching. But I found the remedy. I'm going to get a stand that I can use and hold it on. So I'm waiting on stitching on this anymore until that stand arrives, just so I don't do anything to it again. So I don't know, it said it's on the way. It's a Lowry stand, so it's one that will go on the floor, and hopefully it'll work where I sit on the couch and I can just like, I don't have to hold it, I can put it by my face so I don't have to bend my neck over, and I'm really hoping that that will work well. And I'll probably use it for most things. Anyway, I was able to work on a bigger count project that I have that was lighter, so I could just kind of sit straight and do that. So I was able to do some after those couple days where I just could barely move my neck. Luckily, I had a project like that, so that saved me. But I also didn't work on my other full coverage, even though I didn't injure it doing that when it's an 18 count, but it's still a pretty big project with more fabric to hold, and I didn't want to risk anything, so I didn't get as much work done on my full coverages as I really wanted to this month. But as soon as I get my stand, I'll be hopefully making up for that. And I might have to on my birthday. I took off my whole birthday to stitch, and I really wanted to get some progress done on this one and another full coverage that I have, so I might have to find a way to just deal with it on that one day. So, yeah. Be careful when you're stitching. Make sure you have good posture. Get a stand if you can. I really wanted to get actually another stand that's like just a lap stand. I've seen other Flosstubers have and do reviews about. Like, I think it's called Elan lap stand, where it just sits on your lap. And that one looked really nice. And I went to the website though, and it wouldn't work for sending it to Norway. The payment wouldn't even work. It just, I don't know. I tried to see if there was another place I could get it from, but I couldn't find it. So I went with the Lowry stand, and hopefully that's good enough. So what else? I guess I can, show you my other whip. So that was my together. I already showed you that. Not much really to look at yet. But, oh, crinkling. Sorry. I have this in a bag that it like came shipped in. No. What is it? Ziploc space bag I have this in, so it's very crinkly. Oh, sorry. Oh, okay. Well, next I'll show you what I actually did work on most of the time, but I don't have a pattern keeper for this one because it's a paper chart, so I don't know how much I actually stitched on it, but It is the Queen of Silk. It's a kit from Designworks. I'll show you the picture of what she'll look like. And it's a pretty big piece, but I'm working on the tree still. I'll put in a picture if I have it of what it looked like the last time you saw it. And here is where it is now. So, still the tree, but there's a lot of stitching in this tree. And it's taking me such a long time. I don't know. It feels like it's taking longer than it should, but I'm sure it's not. So, yeah, this tree, if you look, there's quite a bit to do still over here, and then I keep thinking I'm almost done, like the picture I took of that page, and then I'm like, no, I have so much more. And then the trunk goes like all the way down. And then she'll take up most of it. So I'm excited about how it's coming along and turning out. Definitely not too confetti heavy like a HAED would be or something, or another full coverage, but yeah. There's big blocks of color in the trunk, and it's on 14 count. Kind of a flax color Ada. Again, this light is kind of washing it out, but it's not white. This actually looks a little gray in the camera, but it's like a brownish flax color. So that's what I mostly worked on, and I was kind of getting a little tired of just the tree because I didn't have too much else to switch between. But I did stay to my plans to work on Halloween Quaker. I filmed last time in October, so I was still stitching on that every other day. And then starting in November, I just put it away until the 13th because my plan for the year is to stitch on it 13th. And if there's a 31st in the month, I'll stitch on it those days, and then that's it. So I'll just get some progress before next Halloween comes around. So last time, I'll put a picture here. First I'll show you what it's actually, the full thing will look like. Alright, so it's by Lila Studio. Make it bigger. And that's what it will look like finished. And again, I'll put that picture in here if I got it. And here I have now. So I did quite a bit since the last time I was filming. It went from, let's see, 28.03% to now I'm at 41.33%. And it's got a total of 7,439 stitches. And since last time I did 2,394 stitches. So right now I'm in the middle of this design here. So that's what I'll work on, not until actually December 13th. So won't see this one again for a little while. But yeah, it's nice to have something where you can just take it out like once a month or something. It makes it like kind of fun and interesting, new again in a way. So that's fun. All right, next whip that I have that I really wanted to get more done, but wasn't gonna happen with my injury. It's so crazy, like I get a stitching injury where I'm doing like my workouts with throwing heavy kettlebells around. I have a toddler I'm chasing after all the time, and those don't hurt me. Stitching hurts me. But this is Children on the Beach. Artwork is by Cassatt, and it's charted by Cross Stitch Collectibles, yes. And I realized I didn't tell you about Halloween Quaker at all, did I? What it's on or anything, so I'll go back to that one after. But this one, if I have a before picture, I will put that here. And this one is stitched on 18 count Ada 2/1. And here it is now. I'm really, really, really enjoying stitching this one. I'm doing it, I'm transitioning, I'm pretty much there, like to the full just straight diagonal, which I'm really, really liking. And let's see, last time you saw it, it had 3.29%, and now it's 4.52%. Total, there's 5,018 stitches, and since last time I did 1,366. But yeah, I'm really liking, you can see this, the rocks on the beach coming, and this part is pretty confetti heavy, but this part really isn't bad. And now I don't have all the floss quite yet ordered for this project. I had originally just started doing one page at a time, but I was starting to get lines just doing the columns, so that's why I switched over to diagonal, which I like better anyway. But now I have pages coming up where I don't have all the floss for, so there's some gaps in there that I'll fill in. I ordered one, I got in a shipment since I last talked to you of one more thread order, but there's still one more batch that's it's in processing right now. So eventually, next time you see me, hopefully, well, actually maybe not, but eventually I'll have all the floss finally and I can fill in all those gaps. But yeah, I'm just really, really loving doing this one, so I can't wait to get back to it. Alright, so let me just tell you, while I put this away, about Halloween Quaker. I didn't mention anything about it, did I? But it's on a 32 count linen, Belfast linen, and I'm stitching it 2/2, and I'm doing that one in DMC, and at the Lila studio who makes it, you can, I think she charged it in a different different kind of thread, but gives the DMC conversion. So I was going to do it originally. I would like to have done it or tried it in those new threads that I haven't tried, and I'm forgetting, the name is blanking on me which kind. But it was harder for me to get here. Like the places I wanted to order from, they were either, they didn't have them all in, or I was just, it was kind of disjointed if I did it that way. So I just decided to do the DMC conversion, and that's working fine. Yeah, so what next? Those are all my whips that I had, so that was pretty quick. What else? So, plans. So this week, my birthday is on Wednesday. I'm turning 36, so yeah, it feels strange but exciting. And I'm planning on doing a birthday start on that day, and that one's gonna be this kit by RTO. And it's called Forest Heartbeat. So this woman with her wolf, and she's got a moon in her hair. Love the moons. And it just reminds me of a book that I read, Women Who Run with the Wolves, that I really enjoyed. And yeah, it's just meaningful for me. So I think that's a good birthday start one. I'm debating if maybe I'll start it like today or tomorrow so that I can just like pick it up and go on my birthday, so we'll see. And like I said, I took the day off on my birthday, just kind of want to relax and stitch all day. I told my husband, I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna be stitching all day, so that's my plan. And we usually do something for each other on the weekends, like near our birthday, so probably next weekend we'll do something together, and we usually like to surprise each other, so I don't quite know what to expect. You know, nothing big, nothing crazy, but yeah, it's a surprise. We'll find out. And I also, because it's my birthday, ordered a bunch of stuff. And so my family is still in the US. I'm here in Norway, and so a lot of times it's faster sometimes if they're planning a visit for me to send it there and then have them bring it here to me. And it turns out my mom and her husband might be visiting again in December for Christmas. So if the rules for Norway, where the borders are staying open for grandparents, are still in effect, then that's their plan. And they decided to get rid of the quarantine hotel, which is huge. I don't think they would come if they had to do that again, but they can actually quarantine at our house instead. So that would be amazing. And they could come for longer, and then, you know, of course, since that's probably happening, I'm ordering all the stuff to my mom again for her to bring here. So that's where I have the rest of the floss for Children on the Beach. And I also ordered some fabric for the Galliana sampler that in my last video, you know, I had to restart. And hopefully the third time is a charm on that one. I can show you what that one looks like here, actually. And I'm going to be doing it in 2 different colors. But this is the Galliana sampler. So as soon as I get my fabric back for that, I can start on that one again, restart it for the 3rd time. And I also have to shout out Lila, who has a Flosstube, and when she was thinking of doing this Galliana sampler for a while when she saw it on my channel, but then when she found out how many times I had to restart it, she was like, no, I'm definitely doing it now for support. So thank you so much, Laura. I will link her below as well. She's got an awesome channel with amazing artsy projects, and she's getting into some other types of hobbies now with yeah, textiles as well. So definitely go check her out. But yeah, thank you, Laura. So hopefully that will work on the fabric. I ordered a 16 count fabric, I believe. 16 count Aida on like a ecru type color. It matched the thread. I used the site, what is it? Cross Stitching Supplies in the US. And I only will order from them when I can ship it to my family to bring it over, because otherwise the shipping I think would be too much. Plus I would have to pay import most likely on it and wait a long time. So, but I really like that shop, how when you look at the fabric, she also has the DMC thread that it's closest to right there, because you know it's hard to look at the fabric and see if is that how it's actually going to be when you get it. I've seen a lot of people who are surprised with the actual color they get when they order. So she actually has the floss of DMC color like against the fabric, and you can see she says like this closest to this color DMC, so then you can tell pretty much what you're gonna get, which is really nice. So yeah, and I ordered, I feel like, yeah, I ordered, oh yeah, other things I ordered. So if you've followed my channel, you know that I really like the Nora Corbett Zodiac Girls patterns, and she had only released when I actually ordered them, she had only released the first 6, so I have those. And I did a whole video on kind of astrology chatting about each of the patterns and what I see from the actual, like what that sign represents in the patterns. So I have that video, you can go check out if you're interested in that. And I plan to do another one when I have the other 6 patterns. And they just released the final 3, which was Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. And they're awesome. I love them. And I love especially that they're the Aquarius and Pisces, that the skin tones are different than just white. So that was very nice and refreshing. And also, you know, I had thought about if I was going to do that on some of them, because, I mean, yeah, it's good to have diversity, and but I'm not confident in changing my own things. I know there's a lot of conversions out there, but I'm a person who just likes to follow the pattern if possible. So I'm really glad that that's actually charted that way. So I'm really excited about that. My daughter's a Pisces, so I'm definitely going to be doing that one sometime relatively soon. So I have those patterns on the way, and because it was my birthday and my sign's a Scorpio, I actually ordered a kit for the Scorpio one, so I can start that one first. And that's, again, in the US being delivered to my family, so when they come, hopefully in December, I can get that and get that started. But, so all of them are charted with the fabric. It's like a cafe mocha linen, so very similar, like kind of brownish-y, light brownish fabric for all of them. And at first I was just going to do that, and I might still, but I'm like, I don't know, it's kind of boring to have them all in the same blah fabric. And it might be cool to like play around with different fabric colors and styles and things, based on like maybe the color that that sign represents. So I might do that, but then again, a lot of them have that color already in them some way, so I don't want it to like wash out. So I don't know about that. I'm still kind of making up my mind. But yeah. So that's on the way, and eventually once I get all those last 6, I'll have to put together another video and yeah, talk about the astrology with those if anyone's interested. I know some people were, so that's nice, but I know it's not everybody's thing, which is fine. Is that all my stitching stuff I have? Ugh, I feel like I've been just talking nonstop. Obviously I'm the only one here talking, but I hope it didn't go too fast. I feel like it's been so long since I've done this that I forget how. It really hasn't been that long, but it just feels like it. Yeah, I think next is just my life updates. So if you want to stick around for that, welcome. You're welcome to hear a little bit about my life in Norway. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. So time for coffee. Yeah, so lots have been happening. Norway, yeah, so it's been cold. It's November and it's already freezing or near freezing most days. And like I said, it's getting dark. We had the clocks change. We do it 1 week before the US, so there was a week in there where I was so thrown off because I'm usually set on like, okay, we're 6 hours ahead of my family on Eastern time. And I know that, and that's what I work in. So for that 1 week, every time they do the clocks, even in the spring, I have to kind of adjust my head around, okay, now I'm working earlier, but just for this week, and all my meetings have shifted on my calendar, and when I talk to my family now it's 5 hours difference. It's very confusing. So I'm glad that week's over and we're all back on the same schedule. But yeah, so I saw actually my first Northern Lights. I've been in Norway now total, well, this time about over 2 years now, 2.5. And before that, I've been here a year, and I visited before that, and I never saw the Northern Lights, and I would always look for them. I have an app that I downloaded called Aurora, and it tells you your percent chance, like based on your area, of how much chance you have to go see them. And I would always get the notifications, and it would always be maybe like, oh, 15% chance of seeing them, 20% chance, so 5% chance. But I would always, in the beginning, I would always go outside and be like, oh, can I see them? And nothing. So I just kind of ignored it. I started ignoring the app every time it would come on. And then when my family was actually visiting here last time, there was apparently a huge Northern Lights show that was going on over our heads as we were sleeping, and we had no idea. So I'm like, oh man, I really gotta pay attention to this app again. And yeah, it was maybe a week or two ago, and I was about to go to bed. It was maybe near 11, and I went downstairs, and then I saw the app was like, you have like a 33% chance the sky's getting active, and I'm like, I gotta go outside. So I put on like my slippers and throw on a jacket, and I go outside, and you can sort of see, it almost looked like light, like clouds, almost like, it looked like a light cloud, like a cloud lit up, like streaking across the sky. I'm like, is that them? I don't know, I can't tell. And so my husband was already in bed, and he just like falls asleep right away. So I was like going outside, and we have a door downstairs from our bedroom that goes outside. So I just threw on his slippers and went outside to the yard, and he barely even woke up. And I'm like, I don't know. And I came back in, and I'm like, I see the lights. And I go upstairs, and he had no idea what I was talking about. But later he comes up the stairs and goes out, and he's like, what are you talking about? And so we looked out on the porch, which is right here. And we could actually see them. They weren't crazy, like dancing like you see in, I don't know, the like pictures on movies and stuff. But they were there, and there was in a few different places. They were over the mountains, which was really cool. It was like highlighting the mountains, and then there was like a streak over on that side, and that was getting brighter. So it was there maybe over the half hour. It just kind of got brighter and brighter, greenish kind of tones, and then it kind of faded away. So it wasn't too amazing, but it was still cool to see them. So my first Northern Lights, very happy about that. And hopefully one day I can see them dancing across the sky and everything. But the reason I haven't seen them much here is because we are a little further south than where most of them are. So we're still, we're in like the Midwest-ish on the coast of Norway. So usually we're just the cutoff of where you can really see them well. So we'd have to go up north if we really want to see them more often. But I am not willing to do that. It's too cold and too dark. So I'm good with staying here where we have some daylight even in the winter, even if it's shorter days. But I'm fine with that because I couldn't live where it's just dark all the time, like 24 hours a day during the winter. I would be so depressed. I definitely am someone who needs sunlight, and that makes me happy. So in the summer here, you get sunlight all the time. Like, I mean, it barely gets dark at maybe 2 or 3 in the morning. So that's really nice, but winters can be a little tough. So yeah, there's that. I'm excited. I finally saw my northern lights. Now, yeah, I also mentioned I had my first Norwegian interview, and that was interesting. So I have a job now that I work for, but it's a US company. So I work for that, like on US hours and everything, but in Norway. So I work usually now from like noon to 8 p.m. here, which is like, it's actually like 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. in the States, but I'm able to work those hours. But it's getting kind of like not so good because my daughter, she's only 20 months, but she's already starting to have like an after kindergarten sports thing where they just go into this like sports hall where they take out all the balls and like jump on things and they play with each other. And that's every Monday now at like 5:30 to 6:30 that I'm working. So my husband is the one who gets to take her and I can't go. So it's things like that and reasons like that I want to just have a Norwegian job where I can be there, especially as she's getting older. I can like be there after school or after kindergarten and eventually like help out with homework and stuff and take her to fun things like that. So I'm looking and I found an opening in the town next door, across the fjord. So we have to actually take a ferry there, but it's not too far, relatively speaking. And it was an opening for, so they have the translation, direct translation to English is an environmental therapist, but it's basically they have homes or people in their homes who have certain disabilities. They could have anything from like Down syndrome to autism and all different kind of function levels. And they need people to be there and like care for them, their daily tasks and everything. And that's like not at all my field, but all they wanted was someone with a health background. And I do have a health background in my studies. So I'm like, well, okay, I'll just apply and see what happens. So I did, and then I thought I was like in the clear because I was super nervous for the interview in Norwegian. I'm like, okay, maybe I didn't get it. I was kind of like too nervous for it, so I was hoping. I'm like, oh, maybe okay, I didn't get it. And then like a few weeks later, I got an email. They do it through email, like saying, okay, we would like to have you on our next step to the interview. And I was like, okay, now I have to prepare for that. And it was a group interview, which I don't think I've ever heard of in the US. And it's not like they do that all the time here in Norway, but it is pretty common. So I had no idea what to expect. And my husband helped me, tried to like tell me what to, help me with the questions and practice questions of, we basically did it first as like if it was just a one-on-one interview, like, practicing my answers based on what they could ask me or probably would ask me. And I had to learn that in Norwegian. So my Norwegian level, it's like, they call it B2, which is like an upper intermediate level. So I'm able to have a conversation and talk about my subject area or subjects that I'm familiar with fairly well. So, but it's not like, it is an academic level. Like I could actually apply to a school, like college with this level, but it would be tough. Like it would definitely be a challenge. Like the next highest level up, it goes like C, and there's a whole bunch of C numbers, but anyway, so it's still a challenge, but I'm able to hold a conversation fine. It's just when it gets into things I'm not so familiar with, it's very challenging. And on top of that, there's all these different dialects in Norway. There's actually 2 official languages, and the one that I really learned the most because it's the most popular online is called Bokmål, and that's where most of the country speaks. But then where we are in the West, it's called Nynorsk, which is New Norwegian, and they have a lot. I mean, you can understand each other, but there's a lot of different words, like totally different. You wouldn't know unless you learned this language. So I kind of blend the 2 together because my husband speaks the one where we are, and his whole family speaks that, but then within that, there's so many dialects, like from the north, from the south, from this area, from that area, and it's very confusing. So it's a challenge. So anyway, I went into this meeting or interview, and it's a group interview. So we were basically, what they do in a group interview is they give you all like an assignment or an exercise or a problem to solve together, and they basically watch to see how you are in that setting. And first I go in, and I like to be early, so I get there early, and so I wait in the car for a little bit, and then I'm not sure where to go, so I asked a couple different people, but where it is, it's in the home of some of where the people who have special needs are living. So you have to actually take off your shoes when you go into the building. So I'm going in and taking off my shoes for the interview, and normally, you know, they say, oh, your shoes are so big for an interview. Yeah, apparently your socks are, and thank God I wore like matching socks, because I have some socks that are not so appropriate for a work environment. So thank God I didn't wear those. Like, that was so awkward, and I was just waiting around with like cold feet, literally. Yeah, Norway's funny about their shoes. Like, even in people's homes, you're expected to just take your shoes off. And yeah, it's just a thing. So very different from what I'm used to in the US, where if you go to like visit somebody, like you usually don't take your shoes off, or at least where I'm from, I don't know. So very different. So yeah, I was there waiting for a while with just socks on, and then other people were coming, and we all went into this one like kind of office room, and there was the main person who would be the boss if we got hired, and then there was her boss, and then there was they always have in Norway, or not always, but I think at least because this was a job with the city, so they have to have somebody from a union. Unions are really big here. They have to have someone in from a union sitting in with you at the interview just to make sure everything's going well and they're on your side, basically. So I get in, and she introduced herself and then those people, but then I found it very strange. No one else introduced themselves. Like, she didn't have us introduce ourselves, so we didn't know anyone's name, and then we were just given the assignment. So they had a printout of what the assignment was, and first she just read it in Norwegian like really fast, and I was lost. I had no idea what she was saying. So then at the end she's like, okay, everyone understand? Ready? Know what we're doing? And I had to be like, I think I'm gonna read it first because I'm not Norwegian. And they were really nice about it. They were like, oh yeah, that's fine. So I'm starting to read the exercise, but everyone else is already like starting. We're supposed to like collaborate together on what basically making up a resource for the people in the center who use our services, and what people from the community would you use to do this, and what would you include in it, and that type of thing. So it took me forever to like wrap my head around what was happening, plus I was nervous. So, you know, when you're nervous, things go in one ear and out the other. So yeah, it was just kind of a funny situation. But eventually I just kind of stopped reading it, and I just asked for clarification from people. So I think that was okay, and I did contribute some things just based off what they were saying. Not that I knew anything about the subject at all. I was just throwing things out there based on what I was hearing them say. So I did contribute. I didn't just sit there, which was good, and I asked for clarification, where I noticed some people were really not participating at all who were Norwegian, so I felt like at least I did that. And then when that was over, they had us wait, and they were going to talk to each of us individually for about 15 minutes or so. And there was 7 of us, I think, in the interview, and I was the last on the list for the individual conversations. So we went to another room, and I had to literally wait for 2 hours, just sitting there, waiting for my turn. I did talk with some of the other people there who were nice, and we were speaking Norwegian like pretty fluently, so that was a confidence boost. But yeah, it was a long day. I just wanted to get out of there and put my shoes on. So we eventually had the conversation together, and it was basically me asking questions. And it turns out, which I didn't know, it didn't say in the posting, that this shift or this job also includes like the night shift. Not all the time, but like it could be on your rotation that you have to work overnight. And that is not okay for me. Even though part of me would like that because it's kind of more chill and laid back, I know I'm someone who needs my sleep, and I would not function well if I had to switch back and forth between night shift and day shift. So that's automatically out. But I don't know, maybe it's good I didn't know that at first because then I wouldn't have done the interview, and I am glad I got experience. I got my first interview under my belt here, so that's a positive. It was just a very strange, interesting, different experience. Oh, and another interesting thing was dress code. So in the US, I'm used to very, very professional, you know, dressing in even business casual. Like I would have some businessy pants and a nice shirt and a blazer or jacket over it. And my husband's trying to tell me, like, no, you don't have to do that, especially the type of job it is. You don't have to dress fancy, but I just would feel weird going, I don't know, too casual. So he convinced me to wear dark jeans. Okay, he didn't convince me. I couldn't find my work pants because I haven't worn work pants in so long. I brought them here. I know they're somewhere, but I can't find them. So I just wore dark jeans, then like a nice top with a jacket over it, like a nice work type jacket. So I was the most professionally dressed there. There was literally somebody with jeans and a hoodie for the interview, and my husband says that's totally normal. Like he had somebody he interviewed at his job come in with the jeans and a hoodie and he got hired. It's just not a thing here. So that was interesting, very much more laid back culture. So that was very interesting to see and know. Yeah, so they said that this coming week actually we'd find out if we got a second interview that they would do individually and then go from there. But even if I do get that other interview, which I'm really not sure that I would, but if I was, I think I wouldn't go because it's, yeah, night shift and not my thing. So yeah, that was my first Norwegian interview experience. Very, very interesting, very different. What else do I have for life updates? Oh, man, I'm talking so much. Whoever's with me, yeah, cheers. Thanks for staying. I know this is mostly about me rambling about my life, but hey, that's what happens when you get a stitching injury. So also, yeah, like I said, it's my birthday this week, so we also have my husband's grandparents in visiting for the week. So they're staying at his mom's, which is right down the road from us. And so we're seeing them a lot for dinner, which is really nice. A nice thing about my job is I can go down to her place, work from her house, and then take a break for dinner with everybody and still visit and still be there and still be able to work. So that's nice. Yeah, and they actually live on, I think I mentioned before in my earlier videos, they live out on an island with like 16 people on it by the North Sea. So when they travel, they have to use a boat. They have a boat that they take to get to the ferry, and then from the ferry, they took a speedboat actually, not a ferry. It was like, basically they have a speedboat here that will, it's like a taxi through the fjords because it's sometimes easier to go on by boat through the fjords than it is to drive somewhere. So they have, yeah, a big speedboat, and it's almost like when you're on there, I went on there one time or two times. It's like you're in a plane almost, like the way the seats are, but bigger and open, and like you have all the windows so you can see the fjord and everything. So it's a really cool way to travel. So they took that here. It stops in our town. Yeah, so they're here for maybe a week or so, and then, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Excited for my birthday where I'm just stitching for the whole day, hopefully. You never know with a toddler, but if she's not sick again, she can go to daycare, and then, yeah, I can have that day free and not work or anything. So I think that's all. Just checking my notes here, make sure I didn't forget anything. Yeah, so I'm hoping I'll be back in November. My mind now. So I know we have Thanksgiving and Black Friday. Oh, that's one thing I want to ask you guys, whoever's here still, is there any place like cross-stitching wise you know of having like a Black Friday sale or that has Black Friday sales? This will be my first Black Friday like really into stitching, so maybe I can use some of my birthday money on Black Friday's deals. So if you know of anything, especially in Europe, but even if not, yeah, let me know what you know. And yeah, my plans are hopefully getting in that Lowry stand soon so I can work on the rest of my full coverage projects because I'm really, really, really missing it. I love it. I want to get back to that. But otherwise, I'll have my birthday start and the other one to work on, so I'll still have something. So yeah, I hope to see you maybe around, maybe around Thanksgiving, maybe a little after, but hopefully again in November because I also want to talk about my December Christmas plans. So yeah, again, thank you for sticking around this far if you have to hear about life in Norway and my updates. And I hope to see you guys soon. Bye!